Welcome to this webinar. This is a new adventure on the part of CEUCongress in the sense that in the past we've, put up our brochures and websites and so on and advertise the various pre-congress and congress events. And this is the first time you get a chance to really mix with the people who are providing the workshops. Hopefully we'll take more and more advantage of the technological stuff that we have going for us here. So basically, do you have any introductory stuff for this, Gradiola, or should I just continue?
Well, I just wanted to say hello everybody to our webinars for the Pre-Congress Workshop. We want to formally welcome you to CEUCongress Europa Congress of 2017, the Cultural Dexterity for Turbulent Times. We pretty much welcome you there, and we really hope that you will join us to our very interesting workshops. And for one of those, the Cultural Detective, we'll talk today. Word for you, George.
Okay. Well, she asked me for a short bio, and I've lived a long life, so I'll try and keep it short. Basically, I do consulting, training, and more recently, a lot of writing. And some of you may be already participating in our workshop on LinkedIn, the CEUCongress LinkedIn group, where we do a lot of discussion and introduce new ideas and opportunities for folks. I've been involved almost from the very beginning with the Cultural Detective, and I have been working with the process, and I've done a number of these workshops over the years, and we keep developing them to hopefully give you tools that you can basically use very, very effectively. So I live in France. I've worked all over the world, and that's me, and that's probably enough said. So let's take a look at what we're going to be doing here. Assisting me in this workshop will be two other people, Teresa Mroczek, who is from Poland, and Teresa is also my assistant here, and she's pretty much my regular person, and then Ni Dang, who has been an intern with me and continues to work with our Cultural Detective website and the marketing of the various things that we do here in diversify.com. George Simons International, that's my formal name, but I'm best known for work with Diversify and with the Cultural Detective. The 7 titles that you see on this page are Cultural Detective materials that I have co-authored. And I want to emphasize the co-author nature of the materials that you find in the Cultural Detective. We try to get a number of expert people, or at least 2 of them, in the creation of these tools so that we get insider perspectives, outsider perspectives on the cultural topic being worked on. So it's been a pleasure of mine to collaborate with people in doing these things over the years. And I say over the years, but we regularly update them. We're in the process of updating some of them now. What is Cultural Detective? Well, it's basically a method and materials. There is a methodology for looking at culture and a great range of materials to help you understand yourself, other people, see the dynamics of the intercultural communication situations you are in, create collaborative solutions and ways of working together that really are inclusive, that use the energies of everybody involved to their very best. Currently, there are over 70 culture and topic-specific packages. What do I mean by that? Well, for example, there's a Cultural Detective that's doing business with France or doing business with the US. On the other hand, there are topic-specific packages like global teamwork, generational differences, issues around gender, and so on. There's also one that I've collaborated in, which is very exciting. It's how do you safely return from expatriation? So there's a wide variety of these tools. I'll take you to the website in a little bit and show you around there. But these also contain hundreds of critical incidents, and they involve people in the incidents from over 100 cultures, all kinds of industries and areas of functional expertise, levels inside of organizations, independent consultants, independent small business enterprises, and so on. The nice thing about it is, for a number of years now, it's been available in a PDF reproducible form, generally about 20 to 25 pages of material that can be used for a training or a classroom. And also now we have the online version for the last couple of years, which allows you to go there and subscribe and use it regularly as much as you want. So often people ask me at the outset, why detective? Okay, well, to become cultural detectives, we do what a regular detective does. You know, we come into a room where there's been a crime scene, there's a body lying on the floor, there's a pistol close to the hand, and there's a bloody hole in the head. And, you know, the detective doesn't walk in and immediately say, oh, it looks like a suicide. Could be a suicide, could be a murder, could be an accident. We don't know anything. And the trick about cultures is very much the same thing. We need insatiable curiosity. We need absolutely to keep asking questions, to find the values, the context, the inner thinking of people, and the diversity of their values that lead them to behave in certain ways, to think in certain ways, and so on. That's Colombo there, and I don't know if, it seems like Colombo is world famous, at least he's been off and gone. Peter Falk, the actor, died, but I ran into him once, and he actually signed my cultural detective page here, which was a thrill for me. But what I really loved about Colombo is that he embodies the kind of curiosity that we should have. And if you know him and you've watched any of his shows, he'll be interviewing the person who's the suspect. And just as he's just getting done interviewing the suspect, he's on his way out the door, and he turns around and says, just one more thing. Okay? And I've taken that as my intercultural curiosity model. Just one more thing. Always ask the next question. And the putting these clues together that you get from observation, asking questions, finding out what's really taking place, this is why we call it cultural detective. And it's worked in most places. There have been a couple of folks who were scared of detectives because they lived under a rather oppressive police regime, but generally speaking, Colombo works. We don't stress that day after day, but I just wanted to tell you that's why we thought about it in terms of being a detective. So what can you expect to take away if you participate in this workshop? What are you going to get? Okay. It's a set, as I said, of dynamic tools that help you develop cultural competence yourself in individuals and organizations. What you're going to get, first of all, you get familiar with the cultural detective methodology. The materials, those 70 pieces that are online, the best practices for making the most of them in training and coaching situations. I'll get into that in a little more detail as we talk. You'll have the experience and the impact of working with the tools online for yourself, as well as for training and coaching and other intercultural work with both individuals and teams. We're actually going to be working in online situations as part of the workshop. And you will have the opportunity to plan, design, and at least present the outline of a intercultural effectiveness intervention. And the people in the workshop, as well as myself, will be offering you feedback on how to do this well. So that's what we're aiming at in terms of what we hope you will take away from this, besides a certification and some good connections with other people in the intercultural field. This is just a snapshot from one of the cultural detective certifications that I did in Poland not too long ago. You can see people are working with a cultural detective on their laptops in a small group session here. We will have a whole variety of things, but here's the process that we'll be working with. Before you arrive, in other words, once you've signed up and a few weeks before the workshop, we'll be sending you a workshop manual in PDF format that will guide you through the entire process. It'll be something you bring with you. You don't have to print it out. You can leave it on your computer, or you can print it out, whatever is convenient to you. Secondly, you will be getting in advance a 1-month subscription to the Cultural Detective Online. That means you will have access to all of the Cultural Detective materials, and you can get it via your laptop, your tablet, your phone, and use it during and after the workshop. We will have hopefully really good, I understand, really good online connections there. So this is not one of those classes where people are saying, oh, shut off your phones and shut off your computers and listen to me. We're going to blend this into using all the resources possible, so don't hesitate if you're coming to bring that with you. During the workshop, I'll be guiding you by little mini lectures, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, to go through the process, be walking you through what's online. You'll work interactively with each other, with the materials, both face-to-face and online. You'll do some of that work individually and some in small groups. And we'll give you the first-hand exploration and learning how to create interventions. In other words, how to take this stuff and use it effectively on a day-to-day basis wherever your need is to explore intercultural issues, depending on what you do. Okay? So, first of all, we're going to do some theoretical framework. The pictures of the folks on the bottom, I'm not going to give you a test as to who they are, but they're well-known interculturalists, young and old. And basically, this is not another thing where we say, throw away everything else you learn. No, it's rather, okay, you've been using some of the expertise, the day-by-day stuff, the kiss, bow, shake hands, and know how much to open with in a negotiation. You may have used Hofstede's dimensions. You may have used ethnography or autoethnography like Anne Fox does. You may use a developmental model like Milton Bennett offered. You may be a fan of Susan Salzberger's looks into how we shape the intercultural profession and what we want to do with it. You might know Bastian Kunzel, who's in Poland and is a person who is really, I think he's going to be at the Congress too, isn't he, Gradiola? You don't know maybe yet. But at any rate, he's very well outlined the shifts in intercultural thinking as the technology and communication cultures change on a day-to-day basis. So this is not about having the only thing that you need or the one tool that does everything. A great part about the cultural detective methodology is you can bring what you have, reevaluate it, reorganize it, use it more effectively as you go along. We're going to give you the best thinking for honing sharp learning goals and shaping effective interventions, some of the very latest stuff that we are able to come up with in our work, in the latest thinking, the latest trends in the work that we have and the work that we do. So hopefully you will also educate each other with the experiences that you bring to the process. Finally, we're going to explore training designs and how to create programs in this process. Second sector, I should say, of what we're doing is about your own personal competence. In other words, using the cultural detective is not just a tool to help others, it's a tool to understand yourself and help others do that same thing. So we're going to have you experience the benefits of applying the methodology to yourself in the areas of life that work for you and concern you most. That means that we'll be climbing up high together here on the basis of being satisfied with what we find in our own experience of culture and our own cultural backgrounds. So what goes on here? Where can you use this sort of stuff? I have to say that since I've been with this since the beginning, I've used it, I believe, in every one of these contexts. I have used it, I teach in a university in Finland a couple times a year. I've taught in several French universities, and we have used the cultural detective, everything from a half-day introduction to a week-long simulation. For example, you can take a cultural detective for a specific culture, recreate that culture for a couple of days in the classroom. My experience particularly was working with students on, I'm the author of the Doing Business with the USA Cultural Detective, and I've used that as a week-long simulation. In other words, the students come in and they experience these values in the very structure of the course, in the exercises that we give them, in the presentations we make them, and how we behave with them. So it can be used in a what I want to say, macro kind of way, as well as in smaller classes for training, individual or 2 or 3 people coaching. And one of the things I want to point out too, it's very, very valuable for those of you who may be working in virtual teams to realize that virtual teams often have an introductory cross-cultural session or workshop or something, and then generally they just go off and do their thing. And what we're recommending is that these people be able to have some kind of ongoing coaching, and it may be in the form of a specific coach or just someone who guides them to using tools like the cultural detective. I think this is really essential. When I work with a virtual team, I say at least once a month, you folks should have a meeting in which you discuss not what you're doing, but how you're working together and what the rubs and the opportunities and cultural communication quality is among you. I've used it for my own self-development, not just learning about other cultures, but exploring values of my own. By and large, we use it, many of us are, what do we call ourselves, commercial consultants, where we work with a company. Give you an example, I was just working this past year with a French company that was sold to a US company. And so I did a series of workshops with them. First of all, having them become conscious with a cultural detective of their own culture, and then issues around the culture of the US. How do you deal with US Americans? Donald Trump wasn't in the picture then, but I'm gonna shape something for that too. Non-governmental organizations and governmental organizations. Well, I won't give you my entire history around this, but one of the organizations that I worked with for about 6 years, I was training negotiators in negotiation skills in the Asian Development Bank in Manila. And the interesting part about that was that these people, I would have maybe a dozen people in my class, and there were generally at least 10 different cultures involved, and each of them was negotiating with a culture other than their own. So I found the cultural detective an enormously valuable tool, first of all for the self-understanding, and then for the understanding of the cultures that they were working with and their practice of doing negotiation, which they would actually do with each other in the course of the process. So it's possible for, I mean, I said there's 70 packages. You could wind up using quite a few of them in a very diverse classroom or training situation in order to take full advantage of the perspectives that it has. Recently, we've been also looking at how do we adapt our own culture, and what do we do with migrants coming into Europe. I know some of you are in Brazil, and Certifier in Brazil has been doing an excellent job with the Haitian migrants who have been coming to Brazil. Using these kind of tools can help enormously. I also want to say that this is an opportunity, if this strikes you, I'll mention this, of course, in the workshop, there's lots of room for new stuff in the culture detective process. In other words, if you represent a culture that's not represented, maybe you want to get together with some folks and create something there. Or perhaps you found something that's useful in the Cultural Detective series and you want to translate it into Portuguese or whatever the language is that you need to use it more effectively. So this is our picture of cultural competence here. Let me see. Let's see. I've almost talked for the requisite amount, and I want to take one more step though here and explain what it means to become a certified cultural detective facilitator. If you go through the course, you succeed in the course, you get a certificate. That's just a piece of paper. But what you've really walked away with is the ability to fully use the cultural detective materials and methods, know how to use them, where to use them, how to create designs around them for your own intercultural effectiveness, your productivity, that of your organization, your clients, and their organization. So the guts of the workshop is what you walk away with inside, but becoming a certified facilitator also allows you to benefit from the facilitator's pricing and commissions on cultural detective materials and licenses. In other words, you can become a user and resell these to your clients. In other words, because your clients will walk away with the materials you use, or you may sell a license to your client organization, and that opens the door possibly to your continuing on with the organization in order to be able to coach and upgrade the issues that are really important for the organization in intercultural communication. That's the ongoing commitment to that. One of the wonderful things about the cultural detective is if an organization decides to subscribe for their organization and make it available to their folks, there's ongoing stuff rather than, okay, we did a workshop, everybody understand, okay, let's go, and it's over with. So that's an important part of that. And finally, you become part of a network of certified facilitators and authors for updates and exchange of best practices. We have online connections for that, and you will be in the loop about the latest and the best and the new ideas and so on. So that's the picture of what it means to become a cultural detective certified facilitator. I'm going to stop there and see if there's any questions or not, because I think I've stood my stead here. I'm happy to share answers and responses and experiences with whatever you have. So I know what I want to do though first. Hang on a second. I'm going to show you the Cultural Detective website, okay? So I'm going to stop the share, and then I'm going to restart it and take you to, hello? Oh, here you are. Are you seeing the Cultural Detective there? Okay, oh no. Can you see it?
Yes.
What do you see Cultural Detective, home, dashboard, packages?
Yes.
Okay, good, because somehow it looked like it wasn't doing that. I didn't put in the login page where I put my, my name and my password and so on. But it starts with a question as to why you want to use.
Roberta says she bought already. She purchased a link a couple of years ago, but because she was not certified, she could not use it all. So I guess if there is something that you can upgrade, Roberta, if you join us to the workshop, and then you have the full benefits of using the culture detective.
Yeah, if you've subscribed and you have it online, I don't know whether there are specific areas limited. I need to inquire myself. I've never run across that. Okay, but that's so. Has everybody seen it already, or am I just the only one? Or maybe she was just using a sample. No, it's a purchase. Okay. Well, let's take a quick look here. I'm clicking on packages, and this is sort of an index of the various cultures that you can go through and use in the process. And as you notice, most of them are the names of countries, but there's also things like the return from the expatriation and global teamwork, global business ethics, and so on. So there's a lot to work with here. And if you open up a specific package, I'm opening up the USA because I wrote that one. It gives you an overview of the culture. It gives you critical incidents, a half dozen critical incidents, and the opportunity to actually use the methodology on real items. I'm getting a feedback here. Is that a problem for somebody, or? Oh, it's stopped now. Okay, good. You can create and analyze your own incidences here. The way the cultural detective looks takes us back to the fact that we have a lens. Okay, it's I don't know whether detectives use those anymore, but it's the classical picture of Sherlock Holmes looking at the spots on the rug with his magnifying glass. What we look at is the inner discourse that creates our values. Okay, and as I look at the core value discourses of U.S. Americans, there are things that are just very, very, very strong in the culture. Now realize that whether you're dealing with this or any other kind of model, that context makes a big difference. And that's why the methodology here goes on to looking at these things in terms of incidents, because not everybody acts out the culture in the same way, even if they have the strong discourse inside of them. And of course, we have enormous diversity in our cultures these days, and the variety of the cultural detective packages actually allows you to stack them one on top of each other and discover where collaboration areas, conflict areas, areas for discussion may exist with the people you're working for. Okay, I mean, we can spend a long time here. There's all kinds of places for notes. This is an interactive tool. It tells you a little bit about the values, and if you click on it, it takes you to a larger description of the discourse, and so on. So I'm going to shut up. Anybody have any questions?
I was curious though how having the culture detective certification allows you afterwards to certify other people, but that means allows you to have the permission to certify other people. How does the process work?
Well, not exactly. I'm a certified certifier, which is to say I've been at this for a long time, and there are a number of people in various places who have the experience to conduct the full certification workshop. The fact that you're certified means you know an awful lot, and maybe you could do a certification, but that would be by arrangement with the people who produce Cultural Detective. Okay, Cultural Detective is a brainchild of Diane Saphir, who works out of Mexico, and has been managing this for over 10 years now. And so to create a certifying workshop to make other certified facilitators is a special affair. However, that doesn't prevent you from teaching the people in the organizations who buy the product or who subscribe to the online product, teaching them how to use it and how to teach others to use it. Okay, so it's about belonging to the network and privileges in purchasing and so on that you achieve by actually going to this certification workshop. Does that answer the question?
Yes, yes, now I'm clear. Thank you.
And I really want to look into what Roberta said there, because I'm not aware of the fact that without the certification you couldn't make much use of it. I'm not familiar with that kind of restriction, and I'm going to copy that and paste it into my to-do list here. Okay. So, other questions? I mean, we're only 4 people. You can unmute everybody if you want. Anybody who wants to talk is fine too. I don't know how good the connection is, but
yes, I believe.
I hear noises like somebody wants to talk.
You know, oh, well, no, I'm sorry, Roberta. Could you instead just write? Roberta was trying to speak, but I couldn't.
Yeah, I see her in the chat here. Yeah, it's extremely interesting. I think it's a bridge to the future as well in terms of intercultural work, because it takes us from defining values to looking at the inner discourse about values that will help us use what we're learning about our neurological processes. One of my heroes is Joseph Schaules, S-H-A-U-L-E-S. If you don't know his work, he's also creating a new book about language and culture at the moment. But he's in my book the most up-to-date person in carefully using the results of neurological research to create possibilities. So somebody else, it sounds like somebody's trying to talk there, but I'm not hearing anything.
Okay, I believe we can continue with the rest, and if somebody asks a question, I will just stop you and read it.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm not sure where to go from here. That's the basic presentation, and I can talk endlessly about this. Do you have any thoughts, Gradiola, places you'd like me to go with it?
I don't know really, because I think it's the length of the webinar is optimal for us to also put it on and publish for the rest of the viewers who want to see it later. And
okay,
we have your contact details as well. Everybody who's interested to know a little bit more, if they want to join the webinar, they can also contact you or any of the contact details at the web page of Dublin Congress.
Yeah, I'm going to put my email address here because I learned the last time we were doing a webinar that when you produce the Zoom movie, the links don't work. There are links inside of my presentation, but if anybody has any further questions or wants to be in touch, this is me, okay? So if you want to take that down, if you have any further questions or interests, or these will happen again, by the way. I think the next one scheduled is for, or it's in the process of being scheduled for the CETAR Austria Congress in, say, September or something like that, I think. But at any rate, I can provide you that. Okay, well, thanks very much, Roberta, and everybody else. I guess we're done. Okay.
Yes, thank you very much.
Gradiola.
Thank you,
Thank
George,
you.
for the fantastic webinar. And don't forget to invite everybody once again to join us in Dublin. From 25 to 27 is the formal 3 days Congress, and 22 to 24 are the pre-Congress workshops. Thank you, Roberta. Looking forward to see you in Dublin.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.